What's going on, guys? Welcome to Members Room. My name is Alex, and on today's episode, we have SalaarFit. On this episode, we discuss how he makes meals that are healthy and that people actually enjoy. We talk about his one-on-one coaching business, where he helps transform people's lives and their bodies. And we also discuss lifting, content creation, and the business side of fitness. Stay tuned. Hope you enjoy. Salaar, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me, man.
And wanted to get started by talking about early on in life, and I could, see myself in what happened with you when you were younger. We're both kind of chunkier kids,
Yep.
And at one point we were kind of like, done being the fat kid. I want to get fit. So how did that work for you?
Yeah, so I guess like the reason I even got chunky in the first place. So like a lot of people don't know this, but my older brother, he's 18, 19 months older. He has autism. And so his whole thing growing up was just like food. Like I guess he's like really anxious. And so he just always like occupied himself with eating, right? And as the little brother, like, my ass followed in his footsteps. So I was just always eating. My dad would always just kind of feed us. And, obviously you're a kid at the time, so like you're not really thinking about it, but
you don't think about it till you get to like middle school.
You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, and then I actually moved out to California with just my mom. My dad stayed here for work, in like pursuit of like a better education for my brother. And so there I got even fatter because like my mom had her hands full, between the two of us.
Foreign moms just love feeding their kids.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Fucking Persian mother. But no, she obviously was just like all over the place. And so I was just eating a ton of like fast food, and my mom wasn't really like too worried about enforcing, stuff just because she was trying to keep her head above water. And so, yeah, I got really fat. I was like fucking 130, like 135 when I was in like fourth grade, which is like, it's a big kid. But as I just kind of got older, kind of like you said, like you get to middle school, started getting more into just like sports, and lifting and stuff like that. And I actually had a post about this. Like the reason I got into lifting was because maybe you can relate to this, but like as the chunky kid, you're always like stronger than everyone when you're like 12, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like no one's lifting, so you're just like a big boy. And so like naturally I kind of gravitated towards like the weightlifting side of things. So, I had that piece kind of in place at an early age, which was good. That kind of like set a lot of the foundation for me. But then obviously through just years and years of trial and error and just kind of figuring out the nutrition kind of layered on into my, I guess, like later teenage years. But yeah, that's like really why I got into it. Like to your point, it was just like, I was like, okay, like something's got to change.
For sure.
So, we took action and fucking here we are. So.
Well, you got into lifting. I got into cross country, and I was actually a twig.
Really?
I went
that's
from
crazy.
chunky to a twig, and then I started lifting when I got to like college and stuff. But who got you into like lifting consistently? Because coming in from, high school, going to college, you start lifting consistently. You kind of need either a partner to kind of keep you going. It's kind of hard when you don't really know what you're doing in the gym to do it by yourself consistently.
Yeah.
So who was kind of your spark?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say I had like a spark per se, but what ended up happening was I actually wrote a Instagram thread about this like last night. But the reason I actually got into lifting like specifically and really got hooked was because I started tracking like everything I was doing from like a really young age. So I was like writing down like, exercises, reps, sets that I would do. And then the next week, like I would just improve from that number, right? I would just beat the number from the previous week.
Like add more weight?
Yeah, add more weight, add more reps, like whatever it was. It just like I got better in some way, shape, or form. And I always tell my clients this, like progress, it creates motivation for people, right? Like if you're busting your ass, you don't see the results, you're going to stop. But on the other side of things, like if you're working towards something and you see the progress for, just like your return on investment, you're going to stay consistent with it. So, I wouldn't say there was like someone or something specifically that really got me into lifting. But once I started, it was really easy for me to kind of fall into love with it because obviously I was on my kind of like fitness journey at the time, like getting started off and stuff. But it really was just kind of seeing that constant improvement pay off and kind of amount to what it was, that really kind of got me hooked, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So
was there anyone on social media, like at least for me, like Chris Bumstead, I'd look up like Chris Bumstead push workout.
The GOAT.
kind of, emulate what he was doing.
Yeah, totally.
Was there anybody on social media you'd watch to kind of get workouts from?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the guy who really put me on to like my whole kind of fitness wave was like Grego Gallagher, like Kino Body guy, if you know him.
Yep.
He was at the time, this was like early YouTube days, right? Like 2013. So he was kind of like at the time the black sheep of the industry, and he really just simplified it all down to just like calorie deficit and progressive overload, right? So basically he made fat loss, like his whole thing was like, you know, he had a protocol which was like, you know, fasting and then eat this meal, bigger meal, have a late night treat. And for a long time I did it exactly like how he said it, but what you need to understand is like kind of the principles behind it. Then you can make it your own in how you like structure your meals and shit like that. So for me, like he really opened my eyes towards just like lifting, progressive overload, like I was saying, just tracking everything and getting better. And he really like paved the way for like my nutrition, which kind of sounds crazy, but like I started losing weight once I kind of started like watching his YouTube videos and like kind of learning what his methodology and his approach. And I'd say for sure, like, you know, a lot of my approach towards my own personal fitness and with my clients and, you know, the shit that I convey on Instagram is like really centered around that. It's just like, enjoy yourself. It doesn't have to be that hard. Like it's low key, a lot easier than most people think. And that false perception of it being difficult is a lot of the reason why people don't get started in the first place.
Yeah.
So he really opened the doors for me.
And where'd you get the idea to start making your own meals and start formulating
It's funny. Yeah.
the ideas of these
So-
healthy meals?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, you know, like any guy that is trying or girl that's trying to get in like really good shape at some point or another probably starts cooking, right? And you don't have to be good at it, right? You just got to kind of do the bare minimum. But
All the directions. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly, right? But you know, after just years of doing it, like obviously you'll fucking get better at cooking, and I kind of started getting more creative with it. And then when I started my Instagram, I at first was doing just like lifting stuff because like obviously that's what I was more passionate about. But I remember I posted one like, I don't know, it was like a steak sandwich or something like that, and it got like I had like 300 followers at the time, but it got like 30,000 views. And so I was like, holy shit, like, you know, this I might have something here. And our boy Hermosi, he always says, it's rarely new, rather more and better. So like, I was like, okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just stay consistent. And the same fucking thing with lifting, right? Just stay consistent and get a little bit better every single time. So I'd play around with like, you know, the recipes, the like R&D behind them to make sure they tasted good, the lighting, the angles, the editing, the transitions. And so like, obviously over just doing it enough, you kind of figure out what works. And that's when everything really kind of started taking off. So to answer your question, I learned how to cook because I wanted to get lean, but didn't want to eat shitty food. And then once I saw that, you know, people online were kind of had that same issue and, you know, was taking wind, I just kind of doubled down on it and went with it. So
yeah, people say if you have or like Harmozy also says, if you have a long enough time horizon, choose like 2-3 years and say, I'm going to do it consistently for 2-3 years, but I'm going to try to improve every single time. Because you can't just be doing the same thing and expect different results.
Exactly.
That's called being a psychopath.
Yeah,
is
literally.
to do the same thing and not expect a different result. So yeah, you got into social media, but let's backtrack a little bit to college.
Yep.
You went to Indiana University.
Yep. Go Hoosiers.
How did you stay consistent with your diet and your lifting while also
tough.
trying to party all the
yeah.
time like a normal college student?
Yeah, no, I hear you. That was it was a challenge for sure. And
Did you gain weight in college?
like no, honestly, I got leaner. I've stayed within like the same weight for like since I was in like high school, but the composition gets like a little bit better every year. So like in college, like I'd say like once I got to like 18, like that's when I was like really like into it. You know what I mean? Like I had lifted for like 4 years consecutively. I'd lost like pounds and pounds and pounds of body fat, which like took years. So at that point I was committed, you know what I mean? I was consistent. And so with partying and stuff like that, it was challenging, right? Because it's not just like, you're not only partying, you're partying your ass off and you're doing it fucking a lot, right? And it's like, you're not going to be that fucking dude who's like, no, like I'm not going to eat this or drink that or whatever. And to be honest with you, I'm not like the biggest drinker in the world. But what really helped me was honestly just drinking straight tequila or straight vodka. Like
keep it as the best caloric number as possible. Which
Exactly.
Is tequila is a clean alcohol.
It's
they
the
say
best one. Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
best one.
Yep.
It comes from the agave plant.
Exactly.
And then just drink it straight, no juices or anything.
Dude, I was fucking crazy. I would drink it with like Crystal Light. So I'd put like Crystal Light in my water and like chase with just like flavored water. But yeah, like that was the thing for me, because like so many people in college, like you hear that like freshman 15, whatever, it's just like you're drinking like beers, you're drinking Twee, you're drinking all these crazy fucking drinks. But like for me, it was just like, okay, like one, I walked a lot more because like you're on campus, obviously. But also like, you know, once you kind of figure out like the dining hall foods, that situation, again, for me, I'm a very big like creature of habit, and like if it works for me and I'm good with it, like I'm gonna just stick with it for the most part. And that was the case. Like dining hall foods, I found out what was easy, what was like, you know, calorie friendly, whatever you want to call it. And then I just drank straight tequila, and you know, it worked out. So.
And you graduated college. Did you have any plans of getting a job, or you were like, I want to be a trainer, entrepreneur?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So I mean, short answer, yes. Like I went to Kelly's School of Business, so I was like in business. I graduated with a job at KPMG for like consulting, which, God, I was so underqualified for that job, but I finessed it, right? Actually, funny story, tangent. I applied with 2 emails. First one, they rejected me. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try my personal email. And I totally redid my whole resume and everything. Yeah. And like, as soon as I got the interview, like the guy knew my dad's store. My dad owns like a wine store on Wells. And so as soon as we hit it off on that, like I knew I was chilling. But the whole time, like in the back of my head, and I'm always like, you know, I don't want to do this. And like, you hear a lot of people say that, and a lot of people do feel like that, but like, I'm such an all or nothing person to where like, I either am like fucking sold, or I'm just like, if one foot is out the door, like I'm fully out the door. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's kind of what it was with college and you know, my consulting job. And like, again, right, foreign parents, they're like, no, like go
get a job,
make some money, be consistent. Which obviously, like, I get, and
because the unknown scares them. Knowing, like,
unknown's scary for everyone, right? You know, you don't know, and that's what you're afraid of. But for me, like, I've always been very like risk averse. So I was just like, you know, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna take the risk. I'd rather fail at something that I like want to do than be miserable doing something that I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And succeed doing it, because like success is, you know, it's just being happy, in my opinion. So I did have plans of getting a job, but as soon as I started working, my fitness started doing really well. I started coaching, I think a month or 2 after I started. And
were you doing it at the same time? Work and coaching?
Well, so I started KPMG in October of 2022. So we graduated in May. So it was like 4 or 5 months after. And I remember that October, I gained like that October and November, I gained like 100,000 followers, like just in those 2 months. And Linus, which is, for those of you guys that don't know, it's like they're an online coaching company that basically provide online coaches with like all the tech infrastructure and stuff. So they reached out to me end of October. They're like, dude, we love your content. We love, you know, your kind of branding, your personality. Like, we think you should be a coach.
And were you still training at this point?
Training like myself, or
for money? Yeah. Like,
no, at this point I wasn't even training.
You weren't training anybody. It was just fitness content and meals.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And like, I was obviously working at KPMG, but I didn't have any clients. I wasn't making any money through social media or anything. I was just posting consistently.
What was the point to be posting and getting all these followers? What was your goal at that time?
Yeah, that's a good question. At the time, my whole kind of headspace, again, our boy Hermosi says this, but it's always like, it's easier to compound your audience and then profit off of them than it is to compound your money. Right.
So you were trying to build the audience first,
yes,
then monetize after.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, you know, that's not like the right answer per se, but like for me, it was like the audience was coming, so at that point, it was a way to like, how can I monetize?
Give until they ask.
And
then someone did ask.
Linus reached out to me. It was like perfect timing. Yeah. You know, they got me really early on, which was dope. And then I remember like my first full month of coaching, I think I made like the same amount, maybe just a little bit more than I did at KPMG. And so at that point in my head, I was like, fuck it, I'm out. But like, you know, I really wasn't working that hard. I was making like solid money. So I was like, you know, like, fuck it, I'll keep doing it for a little bit. And then I vividly remember this. The guy, I was on a project, and my project manager was like, the guy above you is leaving on March 8th. Like, March 8th, your life's going to change. Word for word, he said that. And so I called my mom up. I'm like, Mom, March 7th, my life's changing. Like, I'm out that bitch. And so, you know, that's when I quit and started kind of doing the coaching full time. That was about 3.5 years ago. So 2.5.
How was it getting your first clients? Did you have to kind of get a proof of concept?
Dude, I was
we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So
it's hard to, you know, get clients if you have nothing to show for. So you kind of got to do maybe some free work or really, really cheap work to get the proof of concept to then show, hey, I got these results, I can do it for you?
Yeah, no, totally. That's a great question. So when I was kind of so I started all my social medias during COVID, like, March, COVID, everyone's like bored out of their mind. They're trying a lot of new things. So started the social media stuff, actually started on YouTube. And I just coached like my 3 really, really good buddies from high school just for free. Like I just was like, eat these stuff. These are the workouts, track them. We'll check in like once a week. And, thankfully like they took it seriously and they all like 3-4 of them made really good progress, which was dope. And that was kind of just like the first step. Then when we went back to school, I think I was like a junior, I was just coaching like kids in my fraternity and just like some other friends. I had maybe like 8 clients or something.
You're just like writing down the stuff, emailing them or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
literally just
no
Excel
softwares,
spreadsheet.
anything.
Yeah, just fucking, bootstrapping it kind of. And, I was at that point, I was charging like $50 a month, $60 a month. So like I still wasn't making a couple hundred, which, for a dude with no following, like making $300-$400 a month is like being a college kid. I was like, okay, like this is cool. But then I kind of stopped like once, I got the job offer and everything. It's like your senior year, I was just kind of like, fuck it. Like I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. Right. And then once Linus reached out to me, we launched Black Friday of 2022. So I remember my first day, I had like 4 calls and like I closed all 4 of them like back to back. And I was like, holy shit, like I just made like $1,000, like, so that was kind of like the aha moment for me where I'm like, wow, like, my life literally is like on track for exactly how I want it to be. Just at that point had to just kind of capitalize on the opportunity, like put your head down and just kind of do the shit that you got to do. So.
And how'd you get those first 4 meetings?
Yeah, so we have kind of like that as like a sales funnel or sales process where basically like there's a link in my bio. I'll post content, call to action.
So it was followers.
Yeah, okay. It was just like followers and stuff that like people that I basically had like a launch campaign for that Black Friday. And I think it literally was the Friday after Thanksgiving. We like opened up the coaching and we announced it. And I think I had like 4 people apply. I took the calls on like the next day. And like the first one signed on, the second one signed on, the third one signed on, the fourth one signed on. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and within like 2 months, I had like, 50, 60 clients. And so it was going well from there.
You were charging $250 a month initially?
At the time, it was like, no, my prices were lower at first because like Linus was telling me to be like, they were giving me kind of comps from what other coaches do. So I think it was around like 150 to 200. They've definitely gone up since then. But yeah, at the time it was like 150, 200 a month.
And how do you onboard clients when you first get
them? Yeah, so from start to finish, like basically they'll fill out the link in my bio. That'll pop up on my end. I'll text them just off my personal phone. And I'll just be like, hey, like it's Salaar, saw you filled out the blah, blah, blah. Like let's hop on a FaceTime to go over it. We'll get on the FaceTime. I'll just take them through kind of the call and be like, here are your goals. Like here's what you struggle with. Here's how I can kind of like bridge that gap for you. Right. And obviously, if they want to move forward, I'll give them a little like onboarding homework, and there's like 2 things they got to do. We'll hop on an onboarding call and make sure they're like fully set up, ready to go. And then that day I'll publish their meals, their workouts. I'll get their first check-in in, make sure I'm big on momentum. So I always want to make sure that first week is like, they're excited, they're motivated, onboarding went really smoothly, and they have everything in place to, get to where they want to go.
And you said you got from 2 months in, you're at 50, 60 clients. How do you manage one person? I mean, you probably got more now. Yeah, you got a lot more now.
Yeah.
How do you manage all those people?
It's a good question. Well, that's honestly the beauty of just like having a management software that like enables you to do that. And that's honestly the huge thing about coaching, because it's like, it's so fucking scalable, right? Like you could never have 60 clients in person because you're not going to work 60 hours in a week, and if you are, it's like all their schedules won't make sense. Like you're not going to be able to maximize it. So, the software is really nice because it's like I have a chat feature with them, so I can text all of them throughout the day when they have questions. Publishing meal and workouts are like simple. Like I have my meal plans where I can just like pull the meals. I'll tweak the calories, takes like 10 minutes. And like the check-ins is the most important thing because it really helps me hold them accountable, make adjustments to their plans. So, if they didn't have their check-ins, I would be doing a lot less work, but their journey and their results would be a lot worse. And so really it's just the software and the online model that really like enables the scalability. So
let's say one of your clients is not really doing too well.
Sure.
They're not making as much progress as they should. Do you hop on a call with them and kind of adjust everything? And how do you also differentiate if they're really telling the truth.
Yeah.
And if they're really following what you're doing.
Yeah. So first part of that question, yes, I do get clients sometimes that are like that, and I will hop on a phone call with them. Like for me, like some coaches don't really care, and some coaches are really busy. Like for me, like I genuinely want to see my clients do well. Like it really bugs me when I'm putting in the work, they're putting in the work, or they're not putting in the work and they're just not getting to where they want to go. So I'll just text them. I'll be like, hey man, like saw it wasn't the best week or best couple weeks. If it's been like 2 or 3 weeks, then we'll just get on a call. And I try to really, and this is just how I am. I really try to tell them like, dude, I'm not judging you. Like, I don't care if you do well. I don't care if you do poorly. Like, I'm not criticizing you. You guys aren't bugging me. Like, truthfully, just be honest with me, because like the more transparent you are, the better our communication is, the better your results are going to be. And I actually tell them that specifically in the onboarding. I'm like, dude, like we're friends before we are like coaching clients. And a lot of times they'll just rip it with me. They'll be like, yeah, dude, like I fucked up. Like I had a shitty week. I didn't do this. I didn't go grocery shopping. And honestly, a lot of it is just being patient and a good listener. I feel like sometimes my girlfriend will say this, like I'm like a therapist, but just creating an atmosphere where they can really trust you and lean on you for guidance and for support. That also helps so much in the client process. Cause it's like at the end of the day, bro, if I'm not giving my clients the results, like my business will fail. And obviously being passionate is part of it, but you have to call them out when they're not doing their shit, because if you do that for every single client, if you don't do that for any client that is falling off, then like your business is going to deteriorate. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not truthful, even though you're very open with them about
Sure.
it. How do you know if they're still not being truthful with you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like sometimes the numbers just don't fucking add up. Like, they'll be,
Because it's a math problem at the end of the
yeah,
day. Caloric deficit.
seriously. Yeah.
Like if you're really doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
So like if what they're saying doesn't align with like the numbers, cause I always will tell them, I'm like, look, bro, if you're not losing weight, it's either a calories issue or a consistency issue. So either you're consistent, we just got your calories too high, or you're just not consistent for whatever reason. Sometimes they don't even like, if you add like oil and butter and shit, like you're being inconsistent without even realizing it. So I'll try to pinpoint which one of those two it is. Usually it's the consistency, not the calories being too high. Then I'll kind of dive into it. I'm like, okay, there's now known inconsistency and unknown inconsistency. Do you actively know that you're being inconsistent, or do you feel like you're being consistent but you're actually not? And then we'll kind of differentiate those. And then at that point, it's like I kind of have an idea. I'm like, okay, well, you're only eating 1,700 calories a day. Like you're not being consistent, whether you think you are or not. And if you are telling me you are, and you're not doing any of the small things that you're not supposed to be, then you probably aren't. You're probably like fucking off on weekends or something like that. Which again, like I'm not gonna judge you or criticize you, but I honestly don't get a lot of clients who like bullshit me. Like they'll usually just tell me, which I appreciate. Like they're not helping anyone, So, yeah.
Now I kind of just thought about if we can flip over to a business kind of question. The lifetime value of a customer is very important within a business. How much money you make per customer and how long you have them for.
Well said.
And with fitness and training, once they kind of reach their goal, you kind of stop making money from them. What's the average lifetime value of your, or you don't have to give a number, but the amount of time you usually retain customers, and do they ever come back?
Yeah,
how do you squeeze the value out of them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's like a lot of kind of nuances to it. My average lifetime is around like 9-10 months, which I like to brag about that, because that's like really, really hard to do, whether you're in person, whether you're online. And I think it's a testament to just like the results and the relationship. Like at the end of the day, like you're not gonna, even if you're like, for example, you go get a haircut, if you fucking love your barber and they fucking pearl your hair every single time you go there, like you're gonna go there every single time, right? So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you get them the results, you step up to your promise, you fulfill what you said you were going to do. And a lot of times it's like, obviously there's a lot of progress you can make in like 6 months or even like a year, but there's so many intangibles that go into it. Like you need to learn how to eat. You need to learn how to work out on your own. That's what I always tell my clients. I'm like, obviously you hear sustainability all the time, but like my goal is like, I want to be the last source of information that they ever need to rely on for their health and fitness for the rest of their life. So it's like a one-stop shop, one-time investment, and you're going to be set for life is kind of the idea. So everyone will get to that point eventually where they're just like, dude, I lost the weight, and even if I have a little bit more, I know how to lose it. And that's at the end of the day, the end goal. But a lot of people need longer than just 6 months. They usually need like 1 to 2 years. And even then, like I said, there's so many lessons to be learned that generally it takes a little bit longer. And one other thing that I did is I switched the pricing model a little bit. I used to provide the month-to-month option first. This literally overnight. If you guys are doing this, don't do this. Made me like more money overnight. I used to offer the month-to-month, and then I'd say, well, if you want to pay up front, there's actually like a discount. So it's used to say that. Now I just flip it. I won't even tell them the month-to-month. I'll just be like, here's the price. It's X $1,000. And if they say that's too much, I'll try to split it up for them. If they can't split it, then I'll offer the month-to-month. And that instantly was like, you're getting all the money up front before you have to even do anything, which way easier for me.
So you've read Alex Hormozi's new books, and we're talking about him so much.
Yeah,
he's a Persian.
He's the goat. He's the goat.
Gym legend.
Yeah.
His new book, Money Models, is all about getting more money up front, like you said, because the more money you get up front, the more cash you have, the velocity of the money you have to spend it on ads and create more money from that money. If you have terms that are like 30 days, 60 days, and you're getting paid real late, it's hard. The money doesn't flow as fast, and it's hard to grow your business like that.
100%.
So it's very smart that you did that.
Yep.
What's one of the biggest weight loss mistakes people make? Like just the general person.
Yeah, I think they just focus on the wrong things. Like literally at the end of the day, like it is just a math equation. Like if you eat less calories than you burn, you will lose weight. Now, obviously there's like more that goes into it, right? Like you can eat more protein, you could lift weights, you could do more cardio. But at the end of the day, it's like you eat less and you move a little bit more and like you will lose fat. I think the biggest problem with it is like people, they're not accurate with their calories. Like I always, when I onboard my clients, I talk about like 3 pillars of fat loss. And the first pillar is accuracy. Because like if you're not accurate with the amount of calories you're putting in your body, like it doesn't matter if you're trying to build muscle, lose fat, whatever. It's like you're not going to move the needle if you don't know. You're just guessing. And so I think a lot of people focus on like, the quality of the food, how many carbs, how many grams of sugar, which obviously like all those things matter, but they don't matter towards fat loss. Like they just don't. So I think they just kind of get lost in all the bullshit and they lose sight of the actual thing that matters. So,
and also Salaar's got an ebook with a bunch of recipes that he created. Where did you find the time and all the meals that you have in the cookbook? How did you create all of them? Was it just over time, all the recipes you put together, you just kind of put it in one book?
Yeah, like long story short, finding like coming up with the recipes, like actually now we have ChatGPT, so it's a little bit easier. But like in 2022, like a couple of years ago, like it wasn't really as where it is now. So at that time it was a little bit harder because like what I would do is like I would find like flavor combos and I would just try to apply them to different things. And I would go on Instagram, like see things that went viral, things that I liked, put twists on things. And you get creative with it, obviously. Like I made like a bulgogi steak fries yesterday and they were fucking fire. Like they were so good. But I like would have, 2 years ago, I didn't even know what that was. So you do get creative with it, but now chat helps me out a ton with that, which is nice.
Now here's a question. It might take you a second to think of an answer.
Sure.
What's one of the most unpopular opinions within the fitness industry that trainers and social media people aren't saying out there?
Ooh, that's a good one. Most unpopular opinion that they aren't saying?
Yeah, they don't want to.
Yeah. That's a great question.
Or just unpopular opinion in general in fitness.
Yeah.
That people don't want to hear.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. I think I'll give you like 2. So I think that one genuinely like does go back to just like the nutrition side of things. Like even a lot of coaches, like they'll teach you like eat this food, eat that food. I swear to God, it doesn't matter what food you eat. And I'm not saying you should eat whatever you want, but literally just focus on your calories, you'll lose weight, and that it's that simple. It really is that easy. I think people make money off of complicating things and creating more questions that need to be asked. And I don't even necessarily think that's like why everyone does it, but that just makes it harder for everyone. And I think, that's how they kind of profit. And the second thing, this is a hot take, I might get some flack for this, but I think that if you are like overweight, like really overweight, but you have healthy habits, you're going to be unhealthier than someone who's like in great shape, but lives an unhealthier lifestyle. And the reason I say that is because like having a high body fat percentage impacts everything in your life. And now I'm not just talking about like fucking confidence and how you like fit in clothes, obviously.
Stress.
Yeah, but like your body's ability to fight off colds, your body's ability to fight off stress, your body's ability to just keep its body and muscles and the archetype or the architecture, of your like anatomy like functioning the way it's supposed to, right? Whereas if you're super fucking lean, you have a lot of muscle, I'm not saying like you can go like fucking, smoke a bunch of cigarettes and drink a bunch of whatever and like be healthy, but like your life expectancy, just as a matter of your body's ability to fight off disease, get higher quality sleep, have a better respiratory system. Like your body is going to function so much better when you have a healthy body composition. Whereas I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you just look healthy. Well, it's like, yeah, it's because you are healthy. It's because your body is like functioning how it should be because it's in the best shape that it can be in. So, yeah, I think that's a hot take that I have.
I want to shift more into the business aspect of everything you do. What are your different lead magnets? I know we talked about social media is big. You run ads. Do you have anything else? And how do you maintain each different lead magnet you have in sales funnel?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's the main two that I do, and then I'll go over some that I'm like looking to do. First one's just organic content. That one's probably the easiest, right? There's no cost to do it. You're not restricted by like capital or like running out of people. Like you just make content, you speak to people, and then like you said, give, and eventually they'll ask. So that's the first one. Ads, that is kind of where a lot of people, that's like the next step to most people's businesses. It's how you can create more consistent lead flow, consistent income, and just have like more of a reliable business that you can lean on, as opposed to like hoping, a video or like your page like converts. So obviously I think the better your organic is, the better your paid will convert as well. But those are the two biggest ones. Like for any business, it doesn't matter who you are, like those are going to be the two biggest money makers. What I've been trying to implement, and I just haven't come across the right person yet, is like DM setters and appointment setters. Obviously, with a big following, it's like you have so many people like at your disposal. Those are all leads. Like every single person that.
Do you have a demand issue or supply issue of customers? Like, are you getting too many in that you can't?
No, it would be more of a like demand issue. I think, business, there's like lead gen, then there's conversion, and then there's fulfillment. My conversion and my fulfillment are really good. Like high conversion rate. Yeah. All my clients are happy. It's just getting the people through the door. And, that's a whole nother conversation. But essentially like the DM setters are just people that are in your DMs creating conversations. You can do the lead magnets where it's like, oh, if you like this meal, got like 300,000 views. I'm like, comment this word and I'll send you a 5-day meal plan. And then that just sparks a conversation, right? And
gives the free value.
Exactly.
To respond to, and then later on.
And you can even have like ManyChat, which is like the automation thing on Instagram that'll send the messages, and then your DM setter can just kind of warm them up a little bit. And at the end of the day, like the more contacts someone has with you, the more likely they are to become your customer. So the DM setters is what I really want to start doing, because that's a whole untapped kind of area of my business that I haven't really tapped into yet. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
Now, for your paid advertisements, how do you know what's going to convert the best? Do you test out different things?
Yeah.
Or do you take your best organic, then use that as paid? Yeah.
So that's definitely like something a lot of creators do, and that's something that I've done. That helps with my cookbooks a lot, just because it's literally just like A and B, so it's really easy. But for the coaching, what we'll do is we'll more or less have like the same-ish body and like call to actions. So like click this link below. Like that'll almost always be the same. But the hooks are always different. I did read Hermosi's book about how to kind of structure a paid ad, and his whole thing, and it's so funny. He actually said every single time you see an ad from now on, I want you to just listen to the call out, which is the first like 5 seconds. Like, who are they speaking to, right? And what are the elements that they're using? So like if you create an ad for like back pain, you're going to show someone in bed tossing and turning in the middle of the night, and you're going to have someone saying, this person only gets 4 hours of sleep and they wake up feeling exhausted.
You want to show the pain as quick as possible.
Right away. Right. Yeah. And whoever that speaks to, they're like, oh, that's me, you know? So like for mine, what we'll do is we'll test out a bunch of different like hooks or like call outs. Obviously the bodies will be adjusted a little bit, and then we'll just put like, we're just kind of like testing at that point, right? We'll put the same amount of money, whichever ones are our winners, we'll double down on those ones. And then we can even like further dive into that, right? Like we can pick that part apart, or that ad apart, and see like, okay, like what did well, what didn't do well, and how can we create more iterations within that same kind of hook. And then we're just kind of refining it down even more. And then, you know, once you have that winning ad, you just double down. Instead of $100, you do 1,000, 10,000, and then, you know, ROI drops off a little bit, but as long as it's like 3x, you're in a good spot.
Do you look at, are there any statistics you look at and you're very, keen on making sure it's a good number, like return on ad spend, return on ROAS, like any statistics that you look at, you're like,
yeah, generally like 2.5 times ROAS is like your minimum that you want. 3 is like a good KPI to kind of look for. Like if you're spending $1,000, you get 3,000. It's good because that customer paid for the first round, will pay for the second round, and you have an extra like $1,000, right? So if they, you know, can pay for the customer, the acquisition to acquire them, or the cost of acquiring them, on top of like the next round of ads that you're going to put in, and you make some money on top of that, like that's usually a good kind of benchmark, that 3 times. So again, as you scale, it drops off a little bit. So you want to make sure, you know, when you're smaller, you're not having as much ad spend, the ROAS a little bit higher, maybe like 4.5, because as you scale, it'll drop closer to that 2.5, 3 mark.
And during your sales pitches to your clients, what do you kind of hammer at? In your consultation calls,
yeah.
What do you really try to hammer? What point do you try to hammer out with them?
Yeah, good question. So I think the main like 2 or 3 things that I try to get in on are like, one, you want to create like a disparity between where they are and where they want to be, right? And you want to make that gap as big as possible, and then you want to position yourself as like the bridge to get there, right? So
do you have them tell you their goals right off the bat?
Yeah. So like, first I'll kind of ask them like, you know, where are you at right now? Like, what's your current position? Like, have you tried diets before? Blah, blah, blah. And then my whole kind of spiel is like, okay, well, this is why like you're not getting to where you want to go, right? And I'll make it seem like, you know, it's not your fault, obviously, but you're not implementing this correctly, you're not following this correctly, whatever it is. Then the next question I'll ask them is like, what stood out about me, right? And that's kind of like gets them gassing me up a little bit, right? And they're like, oh, well, your food is so good. I saw your client transformations. You know, I really
realize why they clicked on you.
Yeah, yeah. They're just reinforcing
them. Yep.
Exactly. And so, you know, they're almost selling themselves at that point. Then I'll ask, okay, well, like what really motivated you to want to make a change in your life? That's where I'll really kind of dig into it. And they'll be like, oh, well, like, you know, I just want to be in better shape. And I'll be like, okay, but why? They're like, oh, well, I want to look better in clothes. Why? Because I want to have more confidence so that my boss looks at me differently, my coworkers look at me, and I'm like, okay, so let's say we were to do that. What would change about your life? Oh, I'd get a promotion. My wife would, you know, this. I can spend more time with my kids. I'm like, okay. Well, so now flip the script. Like, what happens if you don't take any action? You just keep doing the same shit that you've been doing. Then they'll kind of be like, holy shit, like, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be fat. I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to be unproductive. And I'm like, okay, well, that's why we need to take action now, because you're never going to have more time and less responsibilities than you do right now. You know, like right now is always going to be the best time to do anything. And that kind of builds that urgency. And then I'll ask them straight up, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at with it? Like 10 being like, let's fucking go. If they say 8, 9, I'll be like, okay, what's stopping you from getting to a 10? And then at that point, they just tell you what the problem is.
You're doing all the selling before you even say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about asking questions. That's all selling is figuring out what's the issue.
Yep.
Having them relay the issue to you.
Yep.
So they're selling themselves, like you said. They
exactly,
tell them
dude.
What's wrong? They tell themselves what's wrong. Where do you want to be? They tell themselves where they want to be. And they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm here.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know, that's the thing. It's like people already know why they're there. They already know what they need. They already know why they can't do it. They don't want to commit. And so I think that when you ask those questions, you're just making them understand how big their problem is and how important the solution is, right? And you're not even saying it to them. You're making them realize it, kind of to your point. So then I'll kind of go into the whole spiel of like, okay, well, this is the meal plan, the workout plan, go over pricing. And then if they if they decide to work with me, we'll go over like onboarding stuff from there.
Do you kind of involve and also bring up the work that comes in with getting from goal A to B? Because that I feel like is where it kind of gets a stop with some sales pitches, because they're like, once they hear all the work that's got to come in, you kind of got to sell them the dream, sell them the vacation spot.
Yep.
Don't tell them you got to hop on the flight.
Yeah,
you got to get your baggage all ready.
100%.
Tell them Aruba's beautiful.
Yeah,
you want to go there.
Exactly.
Not the flight, not all the
yeah,
shit
yeah.
in
Your
between.
flight's gonna get delayed.
So that's what you kind of do, right?
Totally. No, exactly. Yeah, like essentially, you know, and plus my whole approach is like it's not that hard. Like, you know, I fucking eat pretty much whatever I want to. I work out like 4 times a week. I'm not even in the gym all the time. I'm not like meal prepping or doing anything crazy. And that's like that's a lot of the reason people gravitated towards me in the first place, because like, and I can say this with a lot of confidence, like my programming is 99.9% of the time going to be less of a commitment than 99% of other coaches. Cause like, I know that you're going to like the meals. I know you're not going to live in the gym or the kitchen. I know that I'm never going to tell you to not go out and like drink and enjoy yourself. Right there is like all the shit that made you come here in the first place. Right. So, I make it sound so obvious to them. Like, you know, I'm not going to be like, yeah, you have to do some work. I'm going to be like, here's all the shit you don't have to do. And here's what I'm going to do. So you have to do even less. And like, that's my whole thing. I say the less change that we have to introduce into your everyday life, the easier it is to implement and the easier it is to sustain. So
what are the biggest objections you get from clients?
Yeah.
And how do you combat those objections?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest 2 objections that you see are like price and like time. Like it's too expensive, or that's a big commitment, like long commitment. I think all that's kind of bullshit though. I think it's all kind of like a smokescreen. I think, again, Hermosi, he just keeps fucking coming up, man. He just keeps popping up. He always says like, you know, if you had a Ferrari and you just went to some random dude on the street, you're like, dude, I'll sell you this brand new Ferrari for $10,000. That person will probably come up with $10,000 because they know that the value of what they're getting is well worth what they're paying, right? And so if I told someone, you know, in 1 year from now, you're going to have a 6-pack, you're going to have more confidence, you're going to have more energy, you're going to look better in your clothes, like all the things that come with being in great shape. How much would you pay for it? They'd pay $5,000. It's just, they don't know for certain that they're going to get the outcome that they're looking for.
It's always the perception of value they have at that time that you're selling them.
Yep.
The people who perceive the value is a lot more
Yep.
are going to be easier to close.
Sometimes people, it's not even the value, it's they doubt themselves. Like a lot of people are like, I've already tried this before and I haven't done it. Why am I going to waste my money? And again, it kind of goes back to like the probability or the likelihood of you reaching the outcome that you want. But there's always a reason of like, you have the money, you have the time, you just need to believe and commit to it. And like, I think that's where a lot of people kind of fumble it, is like they let those objections get in the way. But like at the end of the day, you got to understand, like they do want to do it. You just need to make them realize that this is the right decision. Mm-hmm. So,
and when you have the price objection specifically, do you ever downsell and sell them a smaller package? How do you work that around?
Excuse me. So basically, we have different pricing options based on the terms. So like if they want to do a 4-month, it's, you know, X amount, 6-month, X amount. The 12-month is the most expensive package. Now, obviously, you know, we price them in a way where it makes certain ones look more attractive. Like for example, if the 4-month is $1,500 and the 6-month is $1,750, most people are going to want this 6-month just because it looks like a better deal.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's anchoring.
Exactly.
You
Price
have
anchoring.
one price anchoring. You have one product A super high.
Yep.
Product B just below it, and then product C all the way down. So they think product B is the best value.
Is the best value.
It has nothing to do with the price. It's just mentally.
Yeah. Perceived value. Exactly.
Perceived value.
Starbucks does the same thing. Like my venti is like 10 more cents than my grande. Like why would I ever get a grande? You know? So same kind of idea. Now, if they can't do like the upfront payment, I'll suggest we split it into 2 payments. So if it's $2,000, we'll do back-to-back payments of $1,000. If they can't do that, then I'll offer a month-to-month plan. But technically speaking, the month-to-month ends up being more because I'm like incentivizing them by paying up front. Mm-hmm. So if price
time value of money, you gotta make
exactly.
It more.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if price is the objection, that's kind of what I'll do. A lot of times too, what I'll do is like, can I pay in a week? What I'll do is like, oh yeah, we actually have a $80 setup fee that's like built into the upfront payment. So if you just pay the $80 today, we'll charge whatever's left in a week. And a lot of times that works like a charm, like, you know, because next thing they know, they're already doing the onboarding process. They already paid $80, so they got more skin in the game at that point.
So you never discount price, you just try to split up the payments.
Yeah, if like someone's like a student, or if I actually like really feel for the person, like they're going through like a fucked up situation, then I'll accommodate a little bit. But I'm never given, unless it's like one of my homies, like I'm never given like 50% off or anything like that. Like I'm very firm believer, like have a fixed price. Try not to be too budging on it, but I don't think everyone's like that. It's just
you never negotiate against yourself. That's
exactly. You got to know your worth. But again, obviously, like I've had people who like their fucking houses have been destroyed in like a hurricane and they want to get in shape. I'm like, okay, well, like I don't want a hurricane having hit your home be the reason that you feel like you're out of shape. Yeah. So it depends, but most of the time I keep it.
And going back to Harbozy, and we're talking about it all day. I gotta get him on the podcast.
We gotta get on the podcast.
Yeah. He brought up how if there's ever a price objection, let's say you're selling a training for $200, let's say, and like we talked about, it's all a perceived value issue that they have. So when they ask, "Can you do it for cheaper?"
I can do it for more.
Can I do it for more? I could do it for more.
I could do it for more.
So that kind of gives them the perceived value that he could do this for a lot more. I'm actually getting a discount at this price.
Yep.
So they kind of stay
exactly, dude. And there's other like I've heard other guys like similar objection handle where it's like, well, I can refer you to like my competitor who does it like a shittier job for a cheaper price.
Oh yeah, here he does it for $200 less. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Like,
doesn't have the reviews I do. Doesn't
exactly. And sometimes you don't even have to like say that because it's like you just telling them go to my cheaper competitor is like says what you need to know. It's like if you walk into a Lambo dealership and the guy's like go across the street and go get yourself like a
Nissan.
Yeah, it's like well I didn't fucking want a Nissan, So it's like the same kind of idea. So.
Now, I'm not sure how recent it was. You had a challenge, $800 challenge, 180 days?
Yeah. So we did that at the beginning of the New Year's. We're going to do that again.
What was the goal of that?
Yeah, well, my goal was to get as many clients as possible.
Yeah, of course.
But honestly, like, it's fucking crazy, bro. Like,
and how does it work if you want to explain it too?
Yeah. So basically what happens is like of all the clients that sign up within like, we'll say like a week time frame, like first week of the year, they will enter in like a 6-month coaching program and they pay like normal price, but whoever gets the best transformation after those 6 months will win like, it's like all their money back plus 6 months free of coaching or something like that. Which is good. Like obviously it incentivizes a lot of people. A lot of people love money, like, so that in and of themselves, like I honestly, like I probably shouldn't say this. I got like a handful of clients who just like hopped on and just kind of fell off. And like I would text them, I'd call them, I'd be on their ass about it. But at the end of the day, they just heard, oh, this is the cash prize. I need to get in shape. And they just kind of jumped on it.
But they already paid.
They already paid. Yeah. And it's like, again, like obviously like, I have the money, which is great, but like I genuinely want to help these guys. Like I don't fucking like 99% of coaches would just take the money and when the person fell off, they would never reach out to them, whatever it is. But I would try and reach out to them, but it works so fucking well. It even gets the people that don't think they can do it because you're just incentivizing them with money. So
for sure. And did you see a big increase in customers that first round?
Oh yeah, bro. It was crazy. I mean,
was that your biggest week? Would you say?
It was up there. It was up there for sure. The first guy I signed, like within an hour, like already paid for the $1,250, and I want to say I got like that month, I probably got like 35 clients, which I've gotten more clients in a month, but that like 2-week span, I got like 25 clients. Like it was a lot of people. Wow. So it's a good, good start of the new year for sure. So
and I want to transition into social media.
Yeah.
What is the key? If let's say you're starting at 0 followers.
Yeah.
What would you do to get to 100K or 340?
Yeah, whatever
right now?
It is. Yeah. Some dude at the gym asked me this. What did I say to him? There was like 3 or 4 things I said, kind of bullet points. Number 1, again, more and better, right? It's consistency is like the most important thing for sure. Like if you're just not consistent, you're posting once a week here, then you don't post for 3 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Like you're not going to build a brand, an identity, a name for yourself. You're not going to have your kind of like message that you're trying to communicate to people. And so I think that consistency is like the most important thing. Plus like you just get better as you get more consistent, right? Like you're going to figure out what works. So that's the most important thing. 2, be authentic. Like, especially in 2025, bro, like everyone like even I have like my Instagram voice and shit like that, which I'm trying to get better at. But like, you don't even want that. Like, you just want to like fucking rip it, be authentic, be yourself, speak how you speak. Like, I have so many people on all of my posts like, why are you swearing? Why do you use this profanity? You don't need to do that. Like, yeah, I don't, but like, I'm not going to change who I am to like satisfy these people. And every time I reply to one of those people, my response will get like hundreds of likes. And that's the thing. It's like the people that don't fuck with you really won't fuck with you, but the people that fuck with you will really fuck with you, right? And so you're building that kind of brand and that following that where they really, really can get behind you as an individual. And again, it's like, especially with social media, it's like you're investing in like the person, not like the product or the service or whatever. So, yeah, I think consistency, authenticity, and then last thing, like value, right? Like you need to give the person a reason to watch, and value can look different. Like it could be something that's entertaining, like that's valuable. It could be something like a low calorie recipe or like a tip on how to improve your bench press, whatever it is. But you need to provide value authentically and consistently. And eventually, bro, like, you will get there. If you don't, it's because you weren't consistent or you just did the same shit over and over again and didn't make adjustments to things.
And what's your ratio of give to then ask for either buy my cookbook or,
Sure.
one-on-one courses? What's your ratio you kind of have?
Yeah.
Because you can't fuck up the ratio, because if you ask too much, then that's when you start losing followers.
Yeah, I think that's something I've understood and gotten a lot better at as I've just gone through like coaching and social media. But I think like what it really comes down to is you need to create enough value or trust in that person's head for them to then want to come to you. And so I think that you can almost embed your like call to actions or your like, hey, like sign up for my coaching in a way where it's not as obvious or as deliberate. Like I'll post client transformations all the time and I'll talk about, when they came to me, this is where they were at. Now they're here. This is what we did. I will never in those messages or in those stories say like, click the link in my bio or DM me this word. I'm just telling them this is what it is.
Let them come to you.
Yeah. And eventually
when you're ready, come to me. This is you show them what you got.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, the CTAs and the hard kind of converting pieces of content are like important. And I will say like I do need to be more consistent with those because I really don't do those. But that's like you do all of the nurturing with all those other things. And then when you hit them with the hard, like, hey, like, normally I'll post those on my story, but like, let's say I make a reel where like, hey, this is my client. I'll talk about their whole story, like me on the camera, their transformation. Maybe I'll put their own video of them talking about it. And like, one, that reaches more people. Two, it hits harder because it's a reel, not like a story. And that will do a better job at converting those people. So it's like, I do all the nurturing through the recipes, through the stories. And when I hit that hard CTA, there's probably going to be one person that's already been on the fence that decides to take that leap of faith.
For sure. And a lot of your content is, I would say half of it is cooking and half of it is fitness, would you say? And how do you balance both? If one does better, you want to do more of the other.
Yeah, good question. So this is something that I've kind of been navigating through more recently, but I think that, excuse me, I used to, like we said earlier, like focus solely on like the fitness side of things just because that's what I was, into and more passionate about.
But all that matters is what's converting more.
Exactly, right? And so then I was like, okay, well, like, let me just fucking double down on the shit that works. And so I was like, okay, like, I'm just going to do the nutrition stuff. Then I kind of was like, okay, like, I don't just want to be like a recipe guy or a food guy. Like, you need to position yourself as a coach and an authority in that thing for you to kind of like, convert clients as a coach. And so, I've been navigating through kind of like what content buckets there are. I've come to kind of learn that there's three main ones. You want your awareness, your authority, and then your conversions. So awareness is like the recipes. They have the most chance to go viral, get me more followers, just kind of bring awareness to my brand. Then you have the authority, which is like my lifting videos, which I need to do more of. And then I have videos recently of me just talking to the camera, like, if you're like depressed and you're unhealthy, try getting healthy. Like, just see what happens. That's kind of my authority stuff. It's showing that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm, like passionate about it, whatever. Then I'll have my CTAs, which are like, hey, this is a client transformation. This is why you should sign up today. I do a lot of awareness and I do a little bit of authority. I don't do as much authority or any conversion. And I need to do kind of those last two to really tie everything together, if that makes sense.
For sure.
So
What would you say your favorite meals are that you've made?
dude, that's a good question. My favorite food is just like a bacon cheeseburger. That's like number one. I made a sweet bacon jam burger the other day, and it was like so fucking good. I actually I made it for my roommate and his girlfriend, and like my roommate couldn't get over it. He was like, dude, like this is like the best burger I've ever had. Like, what the fuck? His girlfriend ate it. She's like, it tastes like it was like made at a bar, but it was like 96% lean beef, low calorie cheese. You know, they would have never fucking noticed. Yeah. But it tastes so fucking good. Definitely recommend it.
What is the future of SalaarFit in general, one-on-one coaching, the social media, tie it all together?
Yeah, dude. So, you know, I think I want to get to a point where, so right now I have about like 100-ish clients. I've gotten up to 175, which was like too many. And I technically do have the capacity to go higher, but what I really want to do is charge more high ticket, have less clients, and work really closely with those clients. So if I can have 100 clients at twice the offer that I have now, you know, instead of charging like 4K, I'm charging.
Say his name again. Say his name.
The boy, the goat, Hermosi.
You double the price.
Yep.
You may lose some clients, but you're still making more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of what I want to do. Plus, like with that higher price, I can kind of justify being like working a little closer with them.
Plus, it perceives your value even more.
Exactly.
The higher price you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with it. And then on top of that, just like I want to build out like more of like a small team of just like individuals. So like a social media content manager, someone who literally will come up with every single piece of content that I need to post, schedule out a calendar, and then like keep me up to date on like when everything's due. Having an editor, which I already have an editor. Having like a virtual assistant who can just do like admin tasks that I'm going to forget to do. Right. And have these like hardworking individuals that just fill one role. And it's not like a team, like a corporate office where you have this guy do this. It's just like literally like 4 or 5 tasks that take up, they're like the bottlenecks, right? And they're responsible for just those bottlenecks. And if I have that like on top of kind of what I was saying with the content and the positioning and all that sort of stuff, it's like, then I'll have the money machine, right? Then I'll have the whole fucking thing put together where, you know, in my sleep, I'm getting leads, I'm making money. I have a DM setter, I have a fucking closer. I do the onboarding, the coaching, and the content creation. I don't even do the planning. I don't do the editing. I don't do anything else. I'm just focused on making more content, growing my business, and then being a good coach. Like that's where I want to get to. So
I think that'd be a great idea. Going back to you saying increase your pricing. Once your clients start turning over and they start finishing, all the new clients that come in, double the price. The conversion obviously is going to go down, but you're going to make more profit at the end of the day, and which is all that matters in business.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think too, like the more money you pay, the more attention you pay. Right. And I think that
you give them all better. Yeah,
exactly. And I also think that, you know, the cheaper a client, the harder of a client they're going to be. Like they're always, not in a bad way. Well, no, kind of in a bad way, but not in like the way where it's like, they're going to be like a shitty client, but just like the people that pay more, they're not going to complain about the price. They'll just give it to you. They're going to show up when they need to. They're going to do the shit that they need to. Versus the guys that are like nickel and diming you, it's like,
because they don't value it.
They don't value
initially.
it.
They don't even value it in the first place.
Exactly. So I think that, you know, that higher price point attracts the right client as well as, you know, same thing with a car. Like no one's buying a Ferrari who's like not supposed to be buying a Ferrari. You know what I mean? So same kind of idea.
Completely agree. Yeah. For me, especially in the business I'm in, sales, all of the clients that try to nickel and dime you and fight you on every penny are the worst client. You spend 90% of your time on those guys.
Yep.
And you make 10% of the money on them.
Seriously, bro. Yeah. It's just the juice is not worth the squeeze. Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, honestly, like everyone always is price conscious, but I do think that when people see the value, it's not even a price thing at that point. It's just, they're willing to spend the money if they think that you're the answer to their problem. So,
have you got any weird DM requests or
anything? Yeah,
any
bro. Oh, I've had some fucking weird ones. So I'll give the immediate one that comes to head. This is like totally R-rated, so like I'm just gonna rip it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but Oh, this is so fucking nasty. So one time I'll FaceTime all my clients for like the sales process. And so
Got a little personal, huh?
yeah, I hopped on a FaceTime. Well, that's what I like to do. I like to like get
Yeah,
fucking, this is what I look like. This is what I sound like. And we hopped on a FaceTime and like long story short, I'll get into it. Long story short, this motherfucker was like jerking off like I don't know if it was to me, but like during the whole call, like he was just like jerking off. And at first, like I kind of like, the camera's just moving weird. And so I'm just like, okay, this is kind of strange. Like, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And like as the call goes on, he just keeps saying weirder and weirder shit. Like he's making comments about like my physique. And I swear to God, at one point I heard like a video go off in the background where it was just like porn. Like dead ass, just like porn. Like I heard like moaning and shit. And then he like paused it and I was like, what the fuck was that? And so at the end of it, I'm just like trying to get off the call. Cause in the back of your head, I'm like, I know he's doing it, but also it's like, there's no fucking way he's doing it. You know what I mean? So I was like, what the fuck? And then at the, like right when I was about to hang up, cause like he could tell that I could tell. So I was like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. He like started putting the camera down like closer to his dick. And as soon as he like started doing that, I like fucking hung up right away, blocked his ass.
God.
Yeah, and I text all my buddies, like they're on my ass about it to this day. That's a fucking funny story, but
wow.
yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like you'll hear it, like even some dude yesterday signed up for my coaching and like it gives them my number for some reason. So
Yeah, do you have any weirdos that like are always contacting you?
Yeah, so I like sometimes I'll have people who like will call me right away, and like that's how I know they're like I'm not even gonna take the call with them. So like last night or like yesterday afternoon, like someone called me like 3 times, and I didn't know the number, but the third time I answered and they're like, "Hi, like blah blah blah," and I'm just I don't even know who this is. So then I kind of put together that, you know, it's the person that filled out my coaching form. Then like this morning, it's like 7 a.m. and I'm sleeping. He's calling me like 2 times. I'm just like, fucking, I'm not taking the call because you're just a weirdo. Like,
You ever thought about getting 2 phones or a different phone number?
yeah, I actually did get 2 phones like 2 months ago, and like the phone didn't have the camera I wanted, and I only wanted the phone for like the good camera, like filming and shit. So it's just fucking sitting in my room. I gotta go return it. But
What are some of the mistakes you made early on? Or to this day?
Yeah. Something that I like, this is something that I even now to this day deal with, but like I try to like be perfect before I get started, you know, and everyone does this. You need the perfect camera, the perfect lighting, whatever it is. Like, you need to know every single piece of information. But like for me, it was like at a certain point, like I just said fuck it and got started, right? And I think like doing that kind of puts into perspective, like I accomplished so much with just getting started before I had anything figured out. And that's kind of like an obvious answer, but like that's a big mistake I made. And then I think the last thing I made was in terms of just like understanding like how important it is to know who you're talking to, especially in like social media and fitness. It's like in all sales, like if you can just, before the person even sits down in the chair to talk to you, like, hey, this is what you do. This is where you're at. This is where you want to go. This is why you can't get there. This is how I can help you. They're going to like think to themselves like, wow, this dude knows exactly who I am. They know exactly how to help me. And I think that all starts with like content, right? Like if you make content for just, again, our boy says this all the time, one avatar, one channel, one offer, right? Like just
niche down all the way to your perfect client and just sell to them. Your conversion is going to be so much more.
Exactly, dude. And I think that's something that obviously like I kind of understood that, but I didn't really understand how like hyper specific you can be and how much further it goes to be. Like for me, it was just like, okay, like help people get in shape that are busy and that don't want to give up, you know, food. Now I tailored it down to like, okay, like I'm usually coaching like men aged like 30, like early 30s to like mid late 40s that either have a serious girlfriend, are married, have kids, have a well-paying job, they're traveling a good amount, they have a good social life, they're pretty put together. You know, and when someone sits down in my chair and I'm just like, okay, like you probably travel for work. They're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, that probably makes it hard to stay consistent. They're like, yeah, it does. I'm like, here's what my other clients do. They're like, oh, like that would help me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, you know, now you're already doing all the selling without even having to sell them. So I think that's something that took me a lot longer to figure out. And even to this day, like I'm trying to just really nail down, like, how can I speak to that exact person through my content? Because that's really like the most important thing.
And when other people, when you narrow down to this avatar, like you said, and all these other people before you that you've already dealt with, all your customers, they all have had the same problems and you've solved them, it's so much easier to sell, like you just said.
Yeah. Once the snowball gets going, you know, it's especially like you're like, I'm not here yet, but you literally get to a point where people are like begging to work with you because like you're such an authority or such a like fucking Ashton Hall. Like I'm sure that dude has a backlog of people, not because they like trust him to help them get in shape or whatever it is, but just because like they really want to work with him, you know? So it's like at a certain point you do all the hard work in the weeds and you know, it'll pay off once you get there.
Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about your lifting side.
Yeah.
What split are you currently using, and have you switched from any other splits?
This is why
before?
I came here.
Yeah. this is what I want to talk about this whole time. Save for the best for last.
No, I love it. Yeah. So I actually also just made a thread about this. But so my whole life, like I grew up, I kind of did like a bro split or like a push-pull leg split, kind of more like body part movement focused. So like all the pushing muscles or the chest muscles, whatever. And then like as more recently, honestly, like I think past like 2 years, I'll say I've kind of shifted my perspective on the importance of like frequency and recovery. So bro split, you're just killing your muscle. So it's like a lot of that volume is like not as high quality as it could be. And plus like the more practice you do, like if you take, you know, let's say 100 golf swings in a week, or excuse me, 100 golf swings once a week versus like 10 to 15 every single day, you're probably going to get better doing 10 to 15 every single day. One, if you do 100 all at once, the last 50, like your back's going to be hurting, you know, you're going to be shanking a couple, getting frustrated, whatever it is.
The bad reps aren't even real reps at that point.
Exactly.
You're not getting better from those reps past a certain point.
Exactly. And plus like the frequency, like our brain's ability to like get into that position and do it again is huge for just like your body's adaptation. So to kind of go off that, I transitioned to like the upper lower recently. I've really been liking that a lot. Now I actually just transitioned to, because push pull leg is my favorite because you get a lot of frequency. The recovery's good. Like you hit everything twice a week and you know, you can go hard, but you're also not like annihilating your muscle like you are in bro split. So PPL was always my favorite. I would do 2 push days, 2 pull days, 1 leg day, obviously.
It's just so much volume in 1 week.
Yeah, so that's what I used to do.
Yeah.
Now Jeff Nippert actually came out with a video about it. He did an upper lower push pull legs. So it's still 5 days a week, but the upper day he's just hitting all of his upper, lower is just lower, and then he'll have like a dedicated push day where he's training his chest and shoulders, and then a pull day where he does his back. I'm still only going to do 1 leg day.
So that's his 5 days.
That's 5 days. I'm only going to do 4 because I'm only going to hit legs once. But it's basically like an upper day, a push day, a pull day, and then a leg day. Whereas right now what I'm doing is 3 upper days. So it's kind of similar. But what I find is that like if I'm trying to hit my chest 3 times a week, I have to bring the volume down because I just won't recover in time. But with twice a week, same with my pull, I can go a lot harder on that second day and still recover in time. Right? So I'm like getting more volume, but I'm getting the same amount of recovery. And I'm not doing too much volume like a bro splits where it's like junk volume. It's all good volume. So I'm kind of like maximizing the stimulus while maintaining the like damage that comes with it, if that makes sense.
Do you sometimes feel like you're not getting enough volume? Because if you're doing upper lower, how many different like chest workouts are you hitting in 1 day? Is it like 1 or 2?
Yeah, honestly.
Like how many, you go by sets probably, right? Like
you're
hitting like 6
good question.
chest sets a day?
So like, dude, honestly, a lot of the
I feel like that's not enough.
You know,
like,
I agree with you.
If I were to do it.
There's a lot of like big, not like big as in like popular, like big as in swole, like kind of like science-based dudes that I follow that like their whole thing is like low volume, high intensity, high frequency. And I really like that. I don't think you need a lot of volume. I think the volume that you do have, push yourself, do it frequently, and you'll be good. Because it's a triangle, right? Like if you go super high on the volume, or excuse me, on the frequency and the intensity, you can't have a lot of volume. And if you have a lot of volume and intensity, you can't do it frequently, right? So you're kind of bouncing around the triangle.
So choose one or the other, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of max out 2 while kind of leaving the other behind. But for me, I kind of find the sweet spot is like 10 to 15 weekly sets per week. Legs, honestly, bro, I do like 9 and I kill my legs and they respond really well.
I think legs are the fastest muscle to recover.
I don't know which one's I know chest is the slowest.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but you know, I
love chest day.
Yeah, exactly. You can only get so many of them in, but yeah, like for me, I find that that's kind of that sweet spot. Like I can do more, but I have to drop the volume somewhere else, or else I'm just going to burn out. Like if I'm doing so much legs, so much shoulder, and the volume on everything is super high, then I'll kind of get burnt out. But if the volume on one muscle, like my shoulders, I can fucking like spam side laterals, rear delts, even shoulder presses, and like they'll never get sore. But like my legs, my chest, I need to be like a lot more mindful of all that sort of stuff. So
I forgot what his name was. One of the big bodybuilders in the Arnold Golden days. His whole thing was
Mike Menser.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
He would work. I think he would
do like
work out one workout every 2 weeks.
He would
do something.
Well, so he did.
He went like to the extreme of rest.
Absolutely.
But he looked like a tank.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
Yeah, his whole thing was just like and he would take it to like past failure, like way past failure. But that was his whole thing. And honestly, it's so funny because so many like science-based guys always refer back to Menser. They're like, you don't need a lot of volume. You need to train. And even they'll be like, he trained a little too hard to failure. But like, I think it really goes to show that there's like a fine line between like the intensity and kind of the volume, right? Like you need to kind of have that middle point. And the intensity is the most important thing, because if you do a ton of volume, but you don't get close to failure, you're getting all the damage with no stimulus, right? It's really the last 5 reps towards failure that grow your muscle. I made a post about this recently. So if you do a set of 5, it'll grow the same amount of muscle as a set of 30. But with a set of 30, the first 25 reps caused a lot more damage.
Yeah.
So it's like you'll get the same growth, but it'll take you longer to recover. So in a year's time, you're not gonna be able to do as much. You're not gonna grow as much, if that makes sense. So
tell me if what I've been doing is correct.
Yeah.
I try to stick to like a 6 to 12 rep range.
Yeah.
Kind of starting at 12.
Sure.
Increasing the weight.
Sure.
But I'll go till failure every single time.
Yeah.
Is that and I'll usually do 3 sets.
Yeah.
I do PPL, push pull legs.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll usually do 3 workouts per muscle group.
Okay.
So I got a push day.
Yeah,
I'll do 3 chest,
3
3 try.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And 3
shoulders.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's good. So you do like 18-ish a week.
Yeah.
Give or take. That's good. That's
and
good.
I'll do like a push day, rest, back by, rest, or basketball, or I throw in like a cardio in between.
That's good.
Then
Every
legs
other day
week,
is really good.
Once a week.
Yeah. Honestly, that's really good. The only changes I would consider making is like, depending on the exercise, you honestly don't need to go above 10 reps. Like if you're doing like a compound movement, like some row or push or squat, whatever, 5 to 10, 4 to 10, honestly going to be that sweet spot. For me, I'll do a top set of like 3 to 8, 3 to 7, and then I'll do 2 back offs of like 6 to 10. That's kind of my sweet spot. The 11th and 12th, that's like, again, last 5 reps, right? So you kind of want to mitigate it. Last thing I'll say about that, and this was like a night and day difference for me and for my clients, is, and this is something Greg O'Gallagher talks about, is like reverse pyramid training. So you warm up, but you start with your heaviest set first.
Okay.
And bro, I'm
never heard of that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you haven't done that, like literally in like 3 weeks, you'll start to see all of your weights go up. Like, because think about it, right? At the end of the day, muscle
warm up set first, then you go into the heaviest.
Yeah. So like,
kill yourself.
you know, it's all like mechanical tension is the most important thing. Like that's what grows a muscle, is just more tension. More weight means more tension. If you hit a set of 12 to failure and then a set of 10 to failure, and the set of 8 or 6 is not, you're not going to be able to push as much weight, right? So warm up, do all your stabilizers, get your nervous system. Like sometimes I'll literally like fucking, like that's why you see motherfuckers get like slapped in the back before like a big PR, because it literally will wake up your nervous system. Or like if you know, whatever it is. Like sometimes I'll literally just go like, just try to like dunk the ball, because like just jumping high will wake up your nervous system, right? So get yourself in a good position to like move the heavy weight, but don't do like a working set before your heaviest weight. Like your heaviest weight should be your first working set, and try to do that with all your exercises. And I'm telling you, bro, like literally in like 3-4 weeks, like you're going to see some gains.
So you recommend till failure every set you do?
Yeah, good question. I think all your isolation stuff, like side laterals and shit, like you can go to failure. Like that'll be fine. I think your compounds, you definitely want to be more mindful. I think if you're doing, for me, and I made this mistake, I took everything to failure and I would plateau way too soon. The first couple weeks of a workout split, you should do like 2 RIR, which is 2 reps in reserve. So like 1 to 2 reps away from failure. Then as you get deeper into the split and the weights get heavier, the RIR should go down. So like once I get to week 10, like now I'm going to failure on everything. But the first couple weeks I was just slowing down to speed up, right? I was doing incline with 205 for like 8 or 9, and it was hard, but I was working on my form, my control, my range of motion. Now I'm doing 235 for like 6 or 7, and it's just as hard, but my body, like I set the foundation to facilitate long-term growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
And you brought up incline or flat bench, or both.
I think incline. I mean, the one argument I have for flat is like I've never ever seen someone who can bench a lot not have a big chest. Like every guy who's a big bench has a big chest. It's like not a coincidence.
So you're saying aesthetically it doesn't really matter too much?
Yeah, I think
because people say aesthetically the incline's better.
Well, so that's what I was gonna say. I think aesthetically and functionally, I think an incline is better. Like rarely are you gonna be like here pushing something. Like you're usually like kind of leaned over, so it's more like functional. It hits your upper, your lower, your shoulders, and your triceps a little bit better. And it carries over to your flat. So like I never used to do flat. I only used to do incline, and my flat was always really strong. But if you have a strong flat, your incline's not necessarily going to be strong.
Yeah,
so like for all intents and purposes, I think incline's better, but I can't stay away from a good flat bench.
Now I need your advice because I've seen a few of your videos.
Sure.
You are cranking 100s on the shoulder press.
Yeah, on the dumbbells. Yeah.
I weigh a lot more than you.
Sure.
I'm ripping 75 for like eight reps.
Yeah.
I can maybe do like 90 for like, I'm not sure how many reps you do at 100,
Yeah.
but I can maybe do like at 90, maybe do like 3-4 reps.
Sure.
I have not been able to grow my shoulders in like a year.
Sure.
Why?
Yeah.
Why and what can I do?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Like if someone's stagnant on their workout, how can they improve or do better?
I think first for your shoulders specifically, just like spam side laterals. I know that sounds funny, but like
even for shoulder press.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get to shoulder press in a second.
Okay,
but for first thing, just spam your side laterals. And the most important thing is like, this is why people can't get big like broad shoulders is because they shrug when they're doing a side lateral. Like your traps, bro, will take over so hard. But if you just like, if you can lift your arm up without shrugging, it's literally like all your shoulder, right?
There, yeah.
Yeah, so like the cue I think is like paint the wall. Like imagine you're trying to paint this wall, because if you're here, you're not going to be able to paint the wall as well, right? So just kind of pulling your arm out disengages your trap. And like even from here to here, like I can literally just touch my shoulder and feel it. So that's the biggest thing. Spam side laterals, no traps involvement, like that night and day difference. And you'll feel it, bro. Grab like a 10-pound dumbbell and just super slow, almost like you're fucking like, you know, whatever. Like you're gonna look
huge.
Yeah, you're gonna look goofy, but like you're gonna fucking feel it. That instantly blew up my shoulders. And then strong overhead pressing, I'd say the reason I was so strong on it is because like my leg drive and shit, like I can really engage my legs. But honestly, like same thing as I said, like do 3 sets, start heavy, 5 to 10 reps, and start off with like 1 to 2 RIR. So like how many like reps do you do at like 75s?
Like 8.
Okay, and
8 to 10. Yeah.
Is that your first set or your last set?
First, and then I go at 80.
Okay.
And 85 usually.
And then what do you finish with at 85s?
5. Maybe.
So if you warmed up and then went straight to 85s, how many do you think you could do?
Probably more.
Probably more.
Yeah.
So try that.
Like 6 or 7. Yeah.
Try that. Let's say you get 6. Stick with it until you get to like 8 or 9, and then go to 90s. Let's say you get 90 for 5. Same idea. Stick with 90s until you get to like 8 or 9. Then go to 95s. It's called a double progression. So you're progressing on the reps. Once you hit the upper limit for your reps, then you add weight, right? And you just rinse and repeat. That's what I do. But again, it's so important. Like start with a 1 or 2 RIR. So if you can do fresh 85s for 8, just do it for like 6 or 7. Leave 1 rep. Don't kill yourself. The next week, 7 is gonna fly. Next week, 8's gonna fly. Once you go to 90s, now your ceiling is gonna be higher than had you just started really heavy right off the bat. So that's what I'd say. Just flip it around where you start with like the 85s, start with like 5 or 6 reps, and then just go from there, dude. Add 1 rep at a time. Once you get to like 8 or 9, you know, add weight. I can do like hundreds for like 5 or 6. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to hit it for 7. If I can get 7, the next week I'll go to 105s and I'll only be able to do like 3. Wow. So
yeah. So you're a totally against hypertrophy working out.
Yeah,
like guys that say 12 to 15 reps, 20 reps. Why do people even say that?
Because the pump, I think.
Makes them look bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day. I think that when you really dig into like the science of it, when people do pump training and they do it a lot and they stay consistent, your muscles literally are swollen. Like they literally are inflamed. So when you do 4 sets of 12, 4 sets of 15, 20, and you do that twice a week and you do that every single week, your muscles are literally just fucking inflamed. And you are, obviously you're building muscle tissue. Like, don't get me wrong, but
not as efficiently as you should be.
yeah, like if that person stops working out in 2 months, they'll look drastically different. If I stop working out for 2 months, my mom would not notice a difference. You know what I mean? So like, I think there's something to be said about like mechanical tension growth, like lifting heavy ass weight, having cemented actual like muscle tissue versus just like having a semi-permanent pump, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, that's a whole like fitness debate in and of itself. I'm sure there's tons of people that disagree with me, but that's what I've found. That's what the science says. It's what works for me and my clients. So I'm gonna double down with it.
And what's one piece of advice, just to close it off because we're almost out of time.
Sure.
What's one piece of advice that you'd give to anybody starting on the fitness journey or in business, whatever you got?
Yeah. The first most important thing, just fucking do it. Like I always talk about how Nike's slogan, just do it. It's like so brilliant because it's like, it really is just fucking do it. Like that's the hardest
first step.
Yeah, it's the hardest part, but it's like there's never going to be a right time. You're never going to have all the information or all the answers. Like just fucking do it and eventually, you'll get there. So that's the first thing. And then just consistency. Like I really think like the whole more and better is like so real because so many people have like analysis paralysis, right? Like they can't make a decision, they can't commit, they can't take the first step. Well, it's like if you just fucking do it and stay consistent, you're going to get there. And I always tell my clients, like last thing I'll say is like process-based goals over outcome-based goals. If you tell yourself, I want to lose 5 pounds, you're going to lose sight of the process to lose the weight. But if you tell yourself, let me hit my calorie deficit every single day for a month, you're going to reach the outcome, right? And same thing with business. Instead of making more money, think of helping more people. Then you'll make more money, right? Focus on the process. And if you just are consistent, regardless of the outcome, eventually, like if you actually stick with it, eventually you will get there. So
For sure. Well, thanks for coming on. I
boy.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Great conversation.
Thank you. I know, as always.
Have a good one.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.